My name is Amy Jiang. I'm the author of Survival Identity. Um, so I just wanted to talk about why it's important. Um, I think the issue that we don't realize is the things we call personality, the things we call this is just who I am. It doesn't have to be like that if you don't want it to be that. A person who grows up as a people pleaser doesn't have to be a people pleaser in their adult life. The reason for the people pleasing is because we live in systems of imbalanced power. So when you're a child, you found a strategy that worked for you to keep you safe, to provide belongingness, to provide you shelter, food. The problem is we bring those adaptations into our adulthood, and we call those our identity. We say, oh, I've always been this way. Hmm, there's no reason to change who I am now. So I think the cost for some, if you consider it a cost, is the fact that you don't have many options beyond the version of self that you decided you were. This is what I mean. So you decided you were a people pleaser, and then in the workplace, you are a really excellent manager because you're really concerned about your team and making sure that everyone, feels heard, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes I see that there's also drawbacks for that. Like, for instance, you're so concerned about the emotional welfare of your team that you're not giving feedback to people on your team that need to hear it in a much more direct way. I'm going to maybe give you another example. If you are a person who has a tendency to control, because that's your way of feeling safe, in your prior chapters of your life, and now you're bringing that into your adult version of yourself in the workplace. So if you're a leader that shows up that way, then the team that reports up into you, they may not feel like they have a ton of options in terms of feeling like they have some degree of ownership in their work because you're so busy controlling, possibly micromanaging, due to your own perspectives around how to keep yourself safe, right? So that there's that adaptation that became identity, and now it's who you believe you are as a person. My whole reason for bringing all this up is we're more than our adaptation. We're more than just this thing that we made up when we were kids to keep ourselves safe. When I sit across the table from a client, I just find that it's just limiting what they can show up as because they have practiced this version of self for so long. And so the insight is really to recognize that you are not the adaptation that you formed when you were a kid. You're not this version of self that is forever going to be this way either if you don't choose to be. And the question is whether you allow yourself the space to explore what else is possible.